Welcome. This video provides a short user guide for the Peat4Res project decision support tool. The purpose of this tool is to support evidence-based decision-making for peatland restoration and management by integrating environmental, economic, and social sustainability aspects. The tool is designed for researchers, planners, municipalities, and policy stakeholders who need a transparent and a structured way to compare restoration scenarios. Before we go into the calculations, it is important to understand the overall purpose and logic of the tool. Peatlands play a critical role in climate change mitigation and adaptation, but their degradation leads to significant greenhouse gas emissions. The decision makers responsible for transitioning towards more sustainable use of peatlands face multiple peatland restoration and land use options, each with different environmental, economic, and social implications. This tool follows a life cycle sustainability assessment known as LCSA approach, combining environmental life cycle assessment, life cycle costing, and selected social indicators to allow comparison between different restoration and land use options, and to define the most preferable option for their case based on provided key input parameters. The tool is structured into several sections, which are accessed through the tabs at the bottom of the workbook. Each section follows a logical workflow, starting from introduction section to scenario definition, moving to input data, and ending with calculated results and visual outputs. We begin with the introduction section of the tool. This section provides essential background information to help the user understand the restoration and repurposing scenarios included in the tool. Also, the introduction shows how user input fields can be identified. We now move to the site overview sheet. This section is the starting point for user interaction with the tool and is used to describe the basic characteristics of the peatland site under assessment, including the end year of extraction license, ownership, nature conservation area. In the site conditions sheet, the user fills in the key parameters describing the physical and hydrological state of the peatland, including the type of sediments in the mire bottom, distinguishing between water-permeable materials, the upper peat layer type, the peat layer thickness, the upper layer pH, the degree of peat decomposition, the average groundwater table below the surface, and the average number of flooding days per year, with only the highlighted cells requiring user input. The comparative analysis section is used to compare different peatland restoration and repurposing scenarios based on sustainability performance. In this section, the user first reviews how the selected scenarios perform relative to each other, and then assigns weights to the three sustainability dimensions: environmental, economic, and social, with the requirement that the total weight equals 100%. These weights reflect the user's decision priorities and directly influence the final ranking. Based on the weighted results, the tool calculates a relative closeness coefficient to an ideal solution for each scenario and presents a final sustainability rank, allowing users to clearly identify which option performs best under the chosen weighting assumptions. In the comparative analysis section, users should carefully review the results table, where each scenario is visually coded to support interpretation. Green indicates that the option is considered feasible under the given site conditions, red indicates that the option is not feasible, and gray indicates that there is no available data on the implementation conditions for that option. These visual indicators should be reviewed before interpreting rankings or weighted results, as they provide essential context for understanding which scenarios can realistically be considered at the assessed site. Sheets. Assessment of restoration options and LCSA background data contain the background data used by the tool. These sheets include the underlying datasets, parameters, and reference values that support the calculations in the assessment. They are provided for transparency and traceability, allowing users to understand the data sources behind the results, but they are not intended for user input and should not be modified. It is important to note that the tool is intended as a decision support instrument. Results depend on the quality of the input data and the assumptions applied. The tool does not replace detailed site-specific studies, but it provides a robust and transparent basis for comparison and a strategic planning. This concludes the user guide for the Peat4Res tool. Thank you for watching. For further information, methodological details, or support, please refer to the accompanying documentation or contact the project team.